And I'm going to share. Do you know your lights on? Yeah. Okay. And I'm just going to pop this up. Still don't know what this is. Okay, so just to start off with, it's Friday, which means that your draft investigations are due tonight. I'm not going to be drafting them until tomorrow, so just make sure that you do get them in by tonight. So just a reminder for all of you, it is my intention that I will come around and just see what each of you have done. Let me zoom in. We won't be really spending any class time on it today because I want to introduce you to your new group assessment. So last term we looked at doing a group assessment around play, and we're still going to do an assessment around play. I'm not going to change the topic on you because it's still very relevant, but there's a couple of things that I just wanted to go through today and get you guys started on that. So it is going to be a lot of me sort of talking and going through a couple of documents. Can you guys see everything up okay on the TV? Is it not too small for everyone here? Okay, cool. So the first thing I wanted to mention is that the resources that you can access for this group task are going to be in your tasks part. So they're not going to be in the lessons like they normally would be, because I'm finding that sometimes, you know, each lesson will have a document missing. So I'm putting them all together. My mouse is so slow today. So it's assessment for me, but for you it'll say tasks on the left side of your day map, and then just click on assessment 3, group task. This is where I'm going to be putting all of your resources. So this is all that is there so far. The first thing that I want to direct you to is this play one. You should have done this ages ago, and it's this document, okay, where you were asked to either use the textbooks in class or just do some general Google research, and you were supposed to look through these different keywords, because you should really be aiming to use a lot of these keywords in this new assignment, okay, and have an understanding of what each thing is. Then you're supposed to give some reasons why play is so important. Can anybody give me an example, just off the top of their heads, why play is so important for children? Kayla? Yeah, improve finding gross motor skills, absolutely. Anybody else want to have a go? What kids play? What is it good for? Yeah. Creativity, their imagination, they're expressing themselves, they're practicing social norms and social rules, they're learning about the environment, they're learning about how different things interact with each other. So for example, if they're playing with Play-Doh and they've got cookie cutter shapes, they can learn about thickness of Play-Doh. They might learn about how Play-Doh is either really easily breakable or maybe it's quite firm. They're learning about those things through play. Okay, give reasons as to why children need to play with other children and on their own. So why is it important that children play with each other? What is this developing? They learn to share. They can't always have their own way. They have to learn to compromise. Yeah. How to interact with people. You know. Why is it important that they play on their own? They're just figuring out how to entertain themselves. Maybe they have their own thought processes. They have their own agenda with their play. They don't have to compromise with anybody else, and they can seek to find out whatever it is that they want to find out. But you need to be going through these questions if you haven't already and finding some different answers. There were a list of theorists in the textbook that I would have liked you to have researched, but maybe if you haven't done that, we'll just leave that aspect. What are social emotional benefits of play? What are cognitive benefits of play? I would like you to identify those, and in particular, this grid down the bottom is something that you should have done and do need to do. So at these particular age groups, you can even go younger for this new assessment. You can actually go younger as well. So what can children do between the ages of 3 and 5, or 5 and 8, or 0 and 3? You might even look at 0 to 6 months. What can children do? what can't they do, and what are some ideal play activities. So for example, if you're looking at an activity for a toddler who's maybe 1 or 2 years old, you might be thinking that they're probably not very good at doing any like hopscotch activities. That you might be looking at doing some activities that are more to do with their hands and developing their fine motor skills. So you might be looking at blocks or Play-Doh, but also you have to consider, is it safe? Are they going to try and put it in their mouth? Stuff like that. So looking at what can they do physically, but also for the older ages, perhaps what can they do with their social aspect? Can they share? Are they good at communicating? Do they have a very long attention span? Okay, whatever you can find out about what kids can and can't do within those age groups. So doing that task is going to help you come up with ideas for your next or this new assessment. So that is this document here, that's play. I want to point towards are these 2 YouTube videos. I think they're about 5 minutes each. You would have watched them in a relief lesson when I wasn't here. If you haven't watched those videos, just have a read through, because they might give you a better understanding of why play is important if you are not one for reading. All right, so let's dive straight into the new assessment. I think I've got it open already. Here we go. So this task sheet is in your day map as well. But instead of it being about outdoor play, it's now looking at students in self-isolation or children in self-isolation. So there's a little blurb. Many countries have now closed schools as part of efforts to slow the spread of the coronavirus, leaving many people to juggle their own job and role of the teacher, keeping children focused and motivated to continue studying while also providing them with enough productive activities to keep them occupied in downtime is no easy task. Who has younger children at home? Is it driving your parents crazy having them home all the time? Yeah. Okay, did they get bored a lot? Yeah. Okay, so that's sort of what this assessment's looking at how everyone was at home. A lot of parents knew what to do because they still had to work from home, and they've got kids at home that they have to entertain as well. And some of them in the older year levels, you would have had to have actually done some sort of teaching. Okay, so just scrolling down the bottom, we'll get to the actual task. So students are to collaborate and create a parent-friendly website that provides a range of fun activities to promote a range of development. So this will be like a website that parents can go to if they have no idea, they've run out of things for their kids to do in the school holidays, they've run out of things for their kids to do at home, and you guys are going to provide some activities, some play activities that will promote some sort of development. Okay, so students must identify a target age. So your entire website could be for a child that's aged 3 to 5, or it could be for a child that's aged 5 to 8. Or if you wanted to do multiple activities for different ages, that's also fine, but you do need to identify which activity is for which target age, and you need to aim to build on their current physical milestones of that age. So that's why that grid before, where you're looking at what kids can and cannot do at a certain age, you need to know that, because you need to be able to justify that your activity is appropriate for where their milestones are at. Okay. You also need to identify how this activity promotes development. So if you are doing a Play-Doh activity, you might say that it's helping them develop their fine motor skills. Perhaps also you might be looking at how using cookie cutters and stuff like that helps the children learn about different shapes. They might learn about different colours while they're doing this activity. Perhaps they're challenging their social development because they have to share. Maybe they are learning resilience, because if they're trying to make something out of Play-Doh and it doesn't work, instead of having a tantrum, they might be practicing their resilience and coming to terms with the fact that, okay, it didn't work the first time, I'm going to try it again. Okay, so you just need to identify what type of development it is promoting. Okay, so this is everything that you're being graded on. I've also uploaded your grid, which looks like, we'll go through that in a second, but there's similar to the last task, there's 3 things that you need to do. So far, you have done an action plan, and last term we looked at group decision making. I got you guys to look at 2 examples and sort of give them a bit of a grade, and you had an opportunity to look at their structure and how the students have actually done their group decision making. So that is something that you do need to do, and the draft of it I'm hoping to get next week. So in this group decision making, you as your group, and your group could be as small as 2 people, but no more than 4. Okay, so it can be as small as 2, but no more than 4. So a group identifies and discusses issues. Oh, hold on, let me just. All right, so identify and discuss issues related to children and wider society. So you might talk about why your website is important for parents and children that are home in isolation. What is the purpose of this website? Why is it important? Okay, students state the decisions about their website and their play activities. So you're telling me what it is that you in your website are going to do, why the activity is appropriate and what their purpose is. You need to identify and discuss factors involving problem solving exactly the same way that you do in an action plan. You identify an issue, you talk about why it's an issue, you talk about how you're fixing that issue, which we'll go through a little bit today as well. And then you allocate tasks to different group members. So you do have to collaborate, and you actually have to demonstrate collaboration as well. So when you do like time plans and stuff like that, you assign a person to a particular job, and that would be demonstrating collaboration. You then do your practical application, which is your website. Your website is your practical application, and then you do an evaluation and your student evidence. So I put in some due dates. I want to try to stick to these as best as we can because we did lose a lot of time last term and we're actually a little bit behind. So we need to meet these deadlines as much as possible so that we can get you guys passing this subject. Okay, but your group decision making is 400 words, or if you go over, it's about 440 words. Your practical application, I'll give you about 2 weeks to produce your website. And your evaluation shouldn't take you too long either, and that's only 400 words. So just a quick show of hands, who has made a website before? Some people. Okay, so it's not generally a difficult task. It can just be a little bit tedious and a little bit time consuming and or fidgety in a sense. But what I have done is I have given you 3 different options for some websites that you can use. So I've used Wix before, which is pretty good. It gives you lots of different options, and it can be a little bit fidgety. I haven't used Weebly before, but I've gotten feedback from other teachers in the school that Weebly is really easy to use. And I haven't used Jimbo before, but apparently Jimbo is also really good. So in your groups, you can have a look at each of the different website makers and choose which one you want to do. But it's one website, obviously, for the whole group. Make sure that you all have access to it and you can all edit it. Edit it. Okay. But before looking into collaboration, just want to quickly go through what it is that you're going to be assessed on. So your group decision making is your problem solving, so how well you identify issues and how well you problem solve these issues. So that's that. And then your practical application, so logical selection of appropriate technology for your practical activities. So what I'm going to be looking at is how appropriate are the activities that you have chosen to include in your website. Are they appropriate for the age that you have specified? Do they promote certain development that you've said that these activities are going to promote? Is the website easy to work through? Is it visually appealing? Is it parent friendly? Is it child friendly maybe even? There's a lot of different things that I'll be looking at in terms of whether it is appropriate. So for example, if you are going to do a Play-Doh activity, you would have to include like a Play-Doh recipe. So for them to be able to make Play-Doh at home. Okay, so something like that. Collaboration, so inclusive response to other group members and responsible and sustained sharing and decision making. So if you are sitting in your groups today or on the platform that I'm about to show you, you'll be having conversations about what it is that you want to make, all right? And making notes of that conversation is important. You guys heard of minutes before? So when you're like a meeting, a professional meeting, somebody would be in the corner taking minutes of what everybody has said or key dot points of what has been said in that meeting. So that's the type of collaboration evidence that I'll be looking for. Even if it's a voice recording that you do of the conversation that you have and somebody listens back to it and takes key points from that conversation, that's something that you could do as well. And whether or not you're being proactive in your group decision making. And then you've got reflection as well. So I've also produced an evidence template, not an evidence, well, yes, an evidence, but an evaluation template as well, which you can find on Daymap. Again, it's not a Q&A. Try not to have the question, answer. Try to be in paragraphs, but that is something that you'll do after you have finished the website. Okay. Something I wanted to show you, because we do have lots of people that are at home online. So the particular website is Microsoft Teams. Has anybody heard of this before? Has anybody used it before? No. So you do have to create some sort of account, whether you use your school email or a Gmail that you already have, but it looks a little something like this. So if you, I've just come up with a generic one, it should come up with a list of different teams that you have. You have to sign up. Yeah. So what you're going to do is you are going to create your own team. So once you've eventually signed up to it, you would go join or create team. I'm going to create a team. All right. And I'm going to click professional learning community. Okay, because it's not, we're not having the whole classroom in there. It's made for staff, and we don't want it to be public either. So you want to select professional learning community. You might give it a name. You might say child studies. You might say group task. You might say play website, whatever it is. So just for fun's sake, let's just put something in. Then you have to add people. So it would be one person in your group would be producing the team, and then you're actually going to add somebody else in there. So that's not going to work. So if you use your school email, you should be able to type in students' emails or students' names, and it will actually come up with them. You can click on them, and why is this happening? And then you should be able to add them. Let me, for example, choose a student's email. Let's we'll just do Casey, she's straight up. I put in should be able to add her, and she should get an email inviting her into this group. All right, so then you've created it. A couple of different things that you can do. There's like a post page where you can all, maybe somebody in the group asks a question and you're all responding to it. Maybe somebody has something that they've thought about, or they found a really great website that they want to use. Good morning. So if you found a really great website and you don't want to lose it, this is probably a great place to be posting that within your group. Okay, files, if you need to upload any of the assessment tasks because you want to have it in one communal space, this is where I'd recommend that you upload that. Okay, as well as your group task decision-making template. This is where that needs to go so that you can all edit it at the same time, because it's one document for your group. It's not individual, so you can all be working on the same document at the same time. Who has used a live Google Doc before in a group task? Some people, you know, you can share the document, you can all edit it at the same time. This is very much the same thing. Okay, so you could upload your document here and you can all edit it at the same time. That's very much what you're doing. There's, oops, clicked on the wrong thing. There is a notebook option. Whether or not you choose to use that is up to you. I might recommend that you use this aspect to take class notes. So perhaps in our next lesson, if I'm going to do a little bit of further discussion about this, you might take some notes in this section. But the post part is just as effective. There are other options as well for you to start new documents. So if you want to do a PowerPoint of some sort for your website, you could do that here and everybody can edit it at the same time, or everybody can see what you're producing. Same thing, there's a Word document. You could do a OneNote if you wanted to. There's some quiz options in here if you want to produce a fun little quiz for your website. So have a look through today of what different options there are as well. You guys have used Kahoot before? Yeah, there's a Kahoot option in here that you can click on and you can produce your own Kahoot. Okay, so today I'll give you some time to produce your teams, but also just to have a fiddle around, have a bit of a play and figure it out what it is that you can actually do, because a lot of you haven't used this before. I'm very new to it as well. So that's what I want you to use for your collaboration, because there are people that are not at school that are going to be in your groups, and collaboration is compulsory regardless whether or not you're at school or studying from home. Okay, it is through this we will be able to collaborate. The other thing that I want to show you is websites. Okay, so this should help you with that play. Where did it go? This play document that you need to do. Okay, this is the first thing that I want you to do. If you haven't done it, multiple other people in your group haven't done it, maybe you could do it together in your Microsoft Teams little section. Okay, because you need to get all of these answers, and a lot of these websites are going to help you with getting some of those answers. In terms of your issues that you need to discuss in your group decision making, there's going to be some research in here as well. So maybe one person from each group could just choose one website, have a read through, take some key notes, put it in your notes part of your collaborative space and start recording information that way. Let's just quickly dive into your group decision making template. Okay, so try to use the template that I've given you. Use just this template. Pop in all of your students' names. Don't worry about your student ID. Just make sure that I have every single person's name that has contributed to this document. All right. So the first thing that you could do is you could do a mind map. This isn't compulsory, this part, but it could be really good to demonstrate your collaborative group meetings. So in your mind map, you might just come up with a range of different fun activities that kids can do at home that you might want to put in your website. Okay, so if you are going to do, let's just keep running with this Play-Doh activity, you might actually do an instructional video of how to make Play-Doh, post the video to your website, have a recipe for that Play-Doh, and then you might have some fun little characters or different Play-Doh activity pictures that you would post to that website. Okay, so once you do your brainstorming Play-Doh, what do you need to then put into your website for that activity? Perhaps another activity could be, you know, here you get those colourful plastic balls that you can get at the like a kids indoor playground. You know what I'm talking about, like the ball pits. You might buy, you know, your parent might buy some of those at the shops, have a range of different colourful balls, and you might have a couple of different washing baskets in the lounge room, and kids have to throw the balls into the right baskets and match the colours. They're also challenging their motor skills as well, perhaps their resilience, whatever it might be. So you would then have to produce pictures of that activity, a little explanation of what it is, stuff like that. Okay, so that is what I would expect in a mind map, and it's just a really good way to record your ideas. If you don't like mind maps and you just want to do a notes page, that's fine, but I want you to start thinking about a range of different activities today. In your group decision making, just have a brief paragraph up the top of your aim of the task and just introducing the task in general. So you can use the task sheet. Where here's one. Scroll up to the top. Have a read through the blurb, the background information, for a little bit of information that you can put into your introduction, but predominantly you need to put in what the actual task is. So this right here, you need to just change the words around a little bit and put that into your aim and introduction. So you need to identify the purpose of the task. So anyone, what's the purpose of this task? What are you being asked to do? What is your task? No, what are you doing? You are making a website. What has the website got in it? Games and activities for kids and families to do while they are in self-isolation. The purpose of this task is to support parents and their families to be entertained and to get through self-isolation. Okay, so that's what you would be putting in that part of the task. So this should relate to the area of study. So talking about, this is the area of study, so you're talking about the wider community, and you'd be talking about the particular predicament that families are in terms of COVID-19. Perhaps not now as much, but definitely before the school holidays, the predicament a lot of families were in. You might talk about the implications of technology on the health and well-being of children. So you might talk about how even though kids are at home, the internet is still a really good way to connect people in the community and to connect children to fun activities. And you might say who is in your group. That's what you need to put in your introduction as well. So it shouldn't really be more than 100 words, 150 words. Try to keep it short, sharp and shiny, but you do have a draft opportunity as well. Then you need to identify some issues. So these areas must be considered and discuss how these factors will impact on your decision making. You do not have to do
Miss, we can't hear you. Just gonna put that out there. Miss Patterson, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Is that better? Okay.
Yep.
I'm assuming it's better. Okay, great. Maybe looking at having a variety of different types of play. So maybe you don't do manipulative play for every single activity. You might have social play, you might have imaginative play. You identify lots of different activities to promote a range of different development. Activities need to be appropriate. This is something that I would like everybody to address. And now when I refer to like, age appropriateness, that's where you would be referring to milestones. So you say all of my activities are going to be aimed for children aged 3 to 5. Activity 1 is useful because of is appropriate because of this. Activity 2 is appropriate because of this. Okay, that is something that you should be discussing in your group decision making. But they're really a bunch of different issues that you can discuss. So gauge how much you're going over your word count and see how you go. Where it says state and discuss your decision, You might choose to do your issues and this at the same time. But like your action plan, the last template was you stated the issues first, and then you later did your discussion about what you've chosen to do and how it's appropriate. You might choose to format that a little bit differently, just in terms of the word count. I've given you some hard copy exemplars last term. I'm actually going to get them online and put them online for you to refer to in terms of format, language, how to be concise as well. I can't find them on my laptop, which is why they're not on Daymap right now, but hopefully by the end of the day, I will be putting those exemplars up. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so some things you need to talk about when you discuss your decision. So what games or activities have you chosen? Are there any physical benefits of this activity? Are there any cognitive benefits? Are there any social or emotional benefits? What are they and how are they appropriate for your age group? What types of play have you included and what is the benefit of that type of play? You should know that from the research that you do or have done already. What target age have you chosen and how does that activity meet that age's milestone, and address any of the other issues that you've identified above, whether it's safety, cost effectiveness, blah, blah, blah. So that is the majority of your word count. The next aspect that you do need to do is your planning and collaboration. Because it's in a grid, it's not towards your word count, so you can be as explicit and detailed as you want. So for example, the days, we've only got 2 lessons a week, but you might separate this into 5 days a week and give each other some different goals. Okay, so who is going to do what? So perhaps in Chelsea's group, today she is going to set up the Microsoft Teams workshop area and she's going to invite everyone into it and she's going to upload all the documents that she feels should be in there. Then perhaps, just for example, if she's working with Andrea, Andrea then might choose a particular website, say Weebly, and she will set up the website that they are going to use. Then maybe Caitlin's also going to be in their group, and today Caitlin is going to make sure, pardon me, make sure that they have all of their play information ready to go. Or perhaps she is starting a mind map. All right. So each person every single day will have something to do and you need to plan that. Okay. Something that I didn't mention was how many activities you need to have on your website. So it doesn't really say on your task sheet, but my guide is that you should have 1 activity minimum per person. So if you've got 2 people in your group, you should have 2 activities. If you've got 4 people, you should have a minimum of 4. Okay, because I am aware that we need to get through this assignment quite quickly, so I don't want to bombard you. But because you've only got to have 1 activity per person, doesn't mean that you have to do the activity. It just means that that's the minimum you need to have. So they still need to be quite well thought out, whether it's a video, maybe you've got a PowerPoint that you're putting into the website that's got lots of instructions, lots of pictures, maybe you've got other website links. Okay, do try to put a lot of effort into it because you're only doing 1 activity per group. So that's what you need to put in there. And implementation strategies, how, oh, I had a noise. Somebody's waiting to get in. Am I still on mute? No. Okay. So how do you ensure your success? So you're going to ensure your success by using your time plan. Okay, you're going to ensure your success by making sure that you've done the research in advance. You're going to ensure your success because you are using the Microsoft Teams as a collaborating platform to make sure that everybody is contributing in one way or another. Okay, they are some ways that you would implement, to have your implementation strategies. No, I think there was one more thing I wanted to show you before I let you off. I showed Chelsea this the other day, but I want to show everybody. So there is this Facebook group called Playgroup SA. I would like, if you do have Facebook, I would recommend that you ask to join this group because it's going to give you a lot of really good ideas for what to do for your activities. So if we just do a bit of a scroll, maybe I'll go posts. You might Google some fun activities for your kids to go at home, but just this website has some really interesting activities. So this is crayons, I think. Oh, yep. So they grab crayons and then they pretty much with an iron melt the crayons into the middle of the cutout shapes. So you might do a little copycat activity of that where you record yourself doing it. Doesn't have to be a recording. It can be step-by-step pictures, okay, of you doing that particular activity. What else have we got? Painting activity. Coming up Mother's Day, maybe you do a Mother's Day activity where the kids have to produce something for their mother. This is a little fun one where he's got like sprinkles and he has to do letters. So what type of developmental benefits is this kid getting? Activity. Yeah, fine motor skills. Maybe that's a safety consideration that your kids don't eat the sprinkles. All right, they are also meeting some cognitive development because they're actually learning about language because understanding the alphabet is important for understanding literacy. So they're actually doing some cognitive development as well. He's also challenging his concentration. All right, so there's some concentration going on. What else? Probably not there. But you get it. There's toilet rolls and stuff like that. There's a range of different things on this website that I'd like you to have a scroll through, even if you just go ahead and click on videos. There's just some good ideas if you're absolutely stuck and you've got no idea what you could possibly do. Okay. Once you've created your website, good morning. Once you've created your website, for your evaluation, I would like us to do some sort of feedback. So for those of you that do have younger kids at home, it'd be really interesting, or even all of your parents, have them take a look at the website and give you some feedback. I'll give you feedback, but you want to get some feedback from other people as well. So I think that's all I wanted to show you today, just to get you started. Are there any immediate questions about the task that I haven't really made clear? Makes sense what you're being asked to do. Yeah, okay, good. So, map, the sort of click, if you will, for today. So for today, you need to, I guess, establish who is going to be in your group. I do have the list of groups from last term, and I can ask if you want to be in those same groups in just a minute. But today I would like you to create your Microsoft Teams platform, upload all the necessary documents that you want on there, whether it be the task sheet, whether it be a couple of YouTube videos that you find, or a couple of videos from Facebook. Choose the website mode that you would like to use for your website and begin your group decision making. So today, beginning your group decision making could be in the form of a mind map, or could be in a form of you taking some notes of some different ideas that you have and would like to do for your activity. But if you haven't done that play research, that is something that I would strongly recommend that you do, and something that I strongly recommend that you post to your Microsoft Teams so that you all have access to that information straight away. Okay, so I'll quickly get up my list of groups from last term. This one, put it on. You can put it on if you want. I think it's over there. There's like a heat. There should be a heat option. I'm not 100% sure. So the groups that I had from last term were Jasmine, India, and Neha. Do you still want to stay in that group? Okay. We've got Talia, Abby, and Cassie. Now, I don't think Cassie or Talia are in our class today, but Abby, would you like to stay in that group? Oh no, Abby's gone. I guess so. I guess she's staying in that group. We've got Michaela, Kayla, and Casey. Yeah. We've got Chelsea and Andrea. Maybe Keely, do you want to jump into their group? Michelle Jaya? Yeah? Every other group's already got 3, so that would be good if you could jump into that group. And then we've got Vanessa, Caitlin, and Izzy. Are you still happy to be in that group? We've got Caitlin and Vanessa online right now. Izzy, you still good? Yep. So maybe Izzy, what you could do today is you could create the Microsoft Teams platform and invite Caitlin and Vanessa into it, and you can start having some conversations today about what it is that you might want to do. Okay. And then we've got Jax and Connor at the back. Are you two still happy to just be the dynamic duo? Okay. Okay, great, perfect. It is a bit cold, but it might warm up. Is there a little switch down the bottom? I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in a second. Okay, so I'm going to leave the Webex open for those of you that are online. If you have any questions at any point, you can ask me. Otherwise, that is what I'd like you to do. So for both of you, Izzy's just going to open up that Microsoft Teams platform, and hopefully you can start having some conversations today. Just give me a virtual thumbs up or a virtual smiley face if you are happy with what we've just gone through. Or maybe I'll just unmute you. I've just unmuted you girls. Are you feeling comfortable with that task?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. I'm going to leave the WebEx open, and you can start doing that, and I'll get Izzy to invite you into a group. Okay. So it was just aircon. Okay. No, I hate it. I don't think everybody hates it. Okay, in here.